guys, let me know if you can see me. This is not the way I want to be doing things tonight, but we're just going to make it happen because I promised I would be here, and for some reason, it does not matter how much I try from my computer, it's not working. So somebody give me a shout out. Let me know that you're here. I'm going to add Emily in too. Let me see. Actually, Emily, if you can request maybe. There we go, actually. Maybe I may have done it. Nope, go away. Sorry, guys. I have never, ever, ever, ever had this kind of problem in my videos in my entire life. I have been doing videos from my computer since it was launched, and all of a sudden tonight I can't do anything. So, hey ladies, I'm so glad you can see me. I am super excited and super honored to be here tonight. If you don't know who I am, my name is Lia Moore. I am known on Facebook as Lia Kanani Mauloa and also the Curly Boss Chick. I've made it my passion over the last couple years since I've learned to love my curls again, to help other girls also learn to love their curls as well with the Monat hair care line. And Emily asked me to share with you guys tonight some great. However, I want to make sure that this is catered to really what you want to know. I have a lot of information and this could go on for hours, and that is not what we're going to be here for. I want to make sure that you are getting the best out of the time that we are here. So in order to do that, I need you to communicate with me. Now, I invited Emily in. Emily, did you get your invitation in? Because she's going to sort of help me here. I don't know if she did. I want to help me kind of guide some of the questions. But this is your opportunity to ask questions. Ask away. If there's something that's been a burning desire, something you want to know, something you've heard, something that you've experienced, please let me know. I will do my best to answer. If I don't have an answer, as with anything else on the face of the planet, I will find out for you. I love research, and this is what I do. It's what I love to do. So I got some hearts. I got some love. I know that you guys can hear me. So I don't know what happened to Emily. I was really hoping that she was going to join me because I would love to be able to conversate with somebody. I'm looking at comments right now. I also hate the fact that I'm so used to doing this. Okay, I don't see the button to add me. So I did the one at the bottom. Add viewers to broadcast. And I invited you. Sorry guys, there's no way for me to uninvite you to restart it. So somehow it has it on your end. And unfortunately, since I can't restart the video, it's not working. Unable to find my camera is basically what my computer is telling me still. All right, well, not really sure where to go from here in order to get Emily on here with me. So I'm just gonna, I guess, start off. So guys, geez, there's so many different places to start with, but let's start with some basic information about curly hair, because curly hair is not all the same. For those of you who have stick straight hair, curly hair is definitely a unique breed. As I like to say, we are the God-given unicorns because God made us completely different from everybody else, and we are completely different from each other. So while there are some guidelines that we can use and there is some basic kind of information to get you started, it always is going to be unique. Yes, I see you. It says you went in. Woohoo! Approved. Add. Let's see if you're here. Yeah? Did it add you? I see that right now. Okay. So I'm going to keep going. So when Emily gets here, we'll talk that way too. And Emily can ask me some questions as we go along. I don't know anything about curly hair, and I completely understand. I don't know much about straight hair other than when I straighten mine, right? So it's really great that we are able to have these conversations and to help each other, and that's really what I'm here for. Again, guys, I'm here to help you. So if you have questions, please, as we're going along, ask them. If I don't see them directly, hopefully Emily will. And then anybody who's catching the replay, guys, if you drop a comment, since I'm in this group, I will actually come back and I'll kind of surface through some of those questions as we go along. So I'm happy to come back and answer questions as well. I don't think I need to change the angle
As
on
we're
this.
going along,
Oh, it says it's connecting with you.
yes, see them directly. Hopefully, Emily will.
Yes, we are finally there.
Comment since I'm in this group. I will actually.
But now I feel like I need to change my angle because I got small on the screen all of a sudden. But that's okay. So let's start with some basic information, guys. When we talk about curly hair, and Emily, you know, help me guide this as we need to, but let me get started here. I don't know what's going to go on with the volume. Do we need to like shut volume somehow? That's so weird. Anyways, so curly hair, completely different, and we basically classify it. So there's a couple of classified curly hair to begin with. And if you want, you know, really deep down diving into this, I did a video last month that you can check out. It's on my profile. It's completely open, so you guys can look at it. But there's two major classifications done by the Curly Girl Handbook. So I do not have mine here. This is my usual desk where I do all of my stuff. So I usually have my Curly Girl Handbook here. There's a Curly Girl Handbook. It's by Lorraine Massey. And she's kind of one of the first people to come to the forefront that said, hey, listen, this is what makes curly hair different. This is a different classification. She classified them by name. And then there was a second person who came along who actually happens to be Oprah Winfrey's hairstylist, and he came up with a different classification, which is typically what you understand for classifications. It's usually what you hear from most girls. It was adopted by most girls here in the United States. Lorraine Massey is English, so that also makes maybe a little bit of a difference. So the classifications are usually 1 through 4, and 1 is 6 straight hair. So everybody else is 6 straight hair. Number 2 are those that kind of have wavy hair, and they're broken down into A, B, and C. So as we go through the progressions, those that are A's have the least amount of body or least amount of tightness in their hair, and goes down to C, which gets tighter. So we go into 3, which is more of your corkscrew curls, like kind of the spirals, the kind of S-curve curls, but they're definitely not really big waves like you would have in a 2. And then 4s, so you have 4, A, B, and C. That is typically your zigzag curls, your more, what we consider ethnic hair. Now, ethnic hair can be anything. Our lovely Emily here has definitely a 4. Are you a 4C, or you're not quite 4C because you're not kinky?
No, I'm
You're
more
like
like a 3B, 3C.
Really? I see 3C, 4A.
Yeah,
You're like crossing that border.
Like in the back, it's looser, and then right now it's kind of really loose and stretched out. But usually it's about like between 3B, 4A. Yeah.
Okay, so what that basically means for those that know nothing about this is that she has a tighter curl pattern. In other words, if we were to take her hair and we were to spiral it around here, it would make a pretty nice corkscrew right around the pencil. My hair is a lot looser than that. My hair is more of a 3. I usually go 3A, and I have some 3Bs because I do have some of the corkscrews. Those are few and far between because I've done a lot of damage to my hair over the years. But it's going to be a little bit looser. My waves, my curls are a bit bigger. That is one thing that we need to know when we're talking to curly girls, because the way in which we style our hair is going to be very dependent. Now, where Emily's hair is going to be a tighter coil, it's a tighter curl. Mine's going to be looser, which means heavier weighted products tend to draw my hair down. With hers, it actually might make it so that they lay a little bit better. Then if you give a heavy weighted product to someone who's got a 2, and in that 2 category, you can forget it. She's lost all of her curls. So the weight of products is super important in terms of what you're looking at. So what you will find, and when we start talking about products within the Monat line, which we'll get into very shortly because that's where I really want you guys to go, right? This is what you guys want from me, right? We will talk about some of the things that I find tend to be what they are. I wanted to preface this, and if I had been on my game, which I feel like I'm really off today because of all of the tech difficulties, I would preface this whole conversation, guys, with the fact that while I know a lot about curls and I know a lot about hair, I am not from corporate. I do not have any coordination. I am a market partner just like you. I have done all of this information I'm sharing with you is from my experience personally and from all the girls that I've been talking to and working with over the past 2 years. I've worked with a lot of different curl patterns, a lot of different girls, and then of course any of the research that I've done. I'm one of those people who loves to research new things. So what I'm sharing from you does not come from head office. The way in which curly girls use product is completely different from everybody else. So don't kill the messenger. I'm just here to share with you guys. Absolutely, Haley. Absolutely, Jennifer. So we talked about curl patterns to begin with. The next thing that really becomes a huge play factor for most curly girls is going to be porosity. And this is not something we typically talk about in the straight hair world as we talk about it. This is something that definitely is affected. You know, straight hair is just as affected by porosity as curly hair is, but because curly hair naturally has this extra breakage. So the follicles, when we talk about follicles are like, best way to think about it is think about pine cones, right? So if you were thinking about different pine cones, there's some pine cones where the shingles are literally so tight on top of each other, they lay really nice and flat. Then when you look at some other pine cones, they're a little bit open. Those are the ones we usually like to use on our Christmas trees, right? And then you have ones that are way open. So you can literally, those are the ones you usually do glitter on, right? So because you get lots of glitter on the inside of those. Well, that's what hair porosity comes down to. That's where the follicles on the hair are different.
That's like such a great way to explain that. I love that you did that. Sorry, I just...
No, that's perfectly fine. Please jump in. I told you I felt like I was just going to be talking to myself the whole time. So I love the fact, and you can stop me at any point in time and be like, wait, Leah, slow down, because I'm a very high energy person, guys, so I hope you guys are keeping up with me. If I'm going too fast, you can catch the replay. But that's the best way to think about curly hair. There's 3 different porosity levels. There's low, there's high, and then there's medium. So low porosity hair is that pine cone that literally got all of the shingles on top of each other. It is so tight that you cannot get to the core of that pine cone. High porosity hair is the extreme opposite. It is so wide open, you can see the core of the hair. Medium porosity hair is somewhere in the middle. So it's not super tight, but it's also not super open. Now, where this really comes into play for curly hair is the fact that low porosity hair has a hard time letting anything in or out. High porosity hair lets everything in and lets everything out. Obviously, in an ideal world, we'd all have medium porosity hair. And obviously, that's what we're going for in the long run. And the beautiful thing about it is Monat really helps to create more of a balance between the high and the low, so you do get more normal or medium porosity hair. As I said before, guys, this information is also imperative. It actually does relate to the straight hair world too. So when you think about damaged hair, when you think about overly bleached hair, or overly processed hair, that hair is typically high porosity. Because what's happened is the cuticles have been blown out so much that things get in and out. So the dryness, even though you're hydrating, you're putting really great oils, you're putting really great conditioners in, it comes out just as quickly. So the process in which the products are applied, as well as the process in which we try to trap that moisture in the hair, is super important. For those with lower porosity hair, it's like prying open, you know, a clam. You're trying to literally pry that clam in to get the moisture inside. Once the moisture's inside, that's great, but you can't get it in there. So you have to pry it open a little bit, and that's where certain techniques come in, and certain gentle heats can come in. So we'll get into that too if you guys want to dive deeper. Again, if you guys really want to dive into each of these, I did a video so you can do each one of them independently and take your time studying them, but that kind of gives you a quick overview on that. So, Emily, love, what should we go through next?
I don't know. You can see if they have any questions, because I know we already...
Yeah, absolutely. As we continue to go along, keep asking questions, guys, or start asking questions, we should say.
Because I have both my phone and my computer up, so I'm watching to see if there's like any lag time, and I'm watching questions as they come in. I don't see any yet, so hold on. Someone said, okay, I have natural curly hair. Yep. I call it
Cocker Spaniel hair.
But don't want curl with a curly iron. What can I use to help?
So when I think Cocker Spaniel, are you thinking about their ears, or are you thinking about their body hair? Because their body hair is different from their ears. Cocker Spaniels usually have really nice waves. They have 2C hair. Whereas Cocker Spaniel bodies are more like poodles, and those can be more in your 3, 4. So give me a little bit more information, Caitlin. Their ears. So yes, yeah, thank you for laughing with me. I don't have to feel so bad about laughing. So you have a very loose wave pattern is what you're saying. You have a more of a 2A into the 2C category. So you have a looser curl pattern. You then on top of this, your porosity is going to make a difference. But for you, what you really want to look at is really kind of I should go back through this as well. You really are looking at hydrating the hair properly so that the hair can cluster together and really to form great, nice. You've got beautiful beach waves if they're on point, I'm guessing, right? If your hair is doing what you really want, it's probably really gorgeous beach waves, and that's probably what you're going for. So for you, really, it's about getting that proper moisture so that the hair is clinging together. So since we're talking about that, let me go through a couple generics, some things that really are kind of cross the cultures or across the different hair patterns, because we get into techniques and we get into washing and we get into some do's and some don'ts, right? So some do's, some don'ts. Let's go through some don'ts. We're not brushing the hair. That's a big no-no for those with curly hair. Even if you have wavy hair, it's more ideal to be using your fingertips. These are one of the best tools that you have. The next best tool you have is a wide tooth comb. The next best tool you have after that is a wet brush. There are some curly girls that use what's called a Denman brush, but it's usually modified really because, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so there's a couple different ways, but I will always say the very first thing to do is use your fingers. Then go from there into what you need. Never, girl, are you going to be doing this with your hair dry, because what you're doing is you're breaking up the curls. Essentially, what you're trying to do with the curly girls, you're trying to cluster those curls as much as possible. The last thing you want to do is break them apart. It takes a little while, a little bit of a process in order to get them to clump together, but once you do that and you encourage them to clump, then your hair begins to look extremely nice. So some of the techniques that help with that are squish to condition, it's called, where you're actually squishing in conditioner into your hair. Another one of those is plopping. You'll hear a lot of curly girls talk about plopping. Plopping is really, it's a way of drying curly hair with minimizing the amount of frizz, essentially. So basically what they're doing is they're pulling their hair up on the top of their head inside, generally speaking, a t-shirt towel, sometimes a microfiber towel. I'm personally a fan of the t-shirt because it's a lot easier. 100% cotton, no polyester, nothing that's going to rough up the cuticles, because it's just easy. Almost everyone has some sort of towel like that at home. And that then by basically the hair to dry in an upward position, it gives it's absorbing the moisture, it's allowing the products to sit on the hair, and yet at the same time it's not exposing it to potentially brushing up against something, so it keeps the clusters much nicer. All right, Emily, what you got?
Okay, so
the Denman brush.
Yeah, so I have a Denman brush. These are absolutely my favorite brushes. So this one, it looks like, hold on, the camera, is it backwards?
Yep.
But anyway.
Yeah, it is. No worries.
Okay, so this is how it actually looks. It comes like this, but sometimes for some people that can be too many teeth, but for some it really defines the curls. For some it kind of more just to comb them out rather than to define. So that one is how it normally comes in with a bunch of teeth. This one, I have modified it myself and taken some of the rows out. So then that way it's kind of, it's not like as much space as a wide tooth comb, but not as little space as a brush. Does that make sense? So those are Denman brushes.
Right. So not necessarily product specific, but the thing is that a lot of curlies, specifically with that tighter curl, will use it to distribute their product through their hair. And that's why the modification works really well, because then you're not getting such a breakup, but you are getting, the coating on individual strands. So there are techniques in terms of how and when to apply products. Very familiar ones are lock, The curly girl method in general is what most people refer to as their method of how they do their hair, and I will explain to you guys what the curly girl method is, because if you're working with a curly girl and she has any clue about her hair, you're going to run into her talking about this. So I will go through that in a hot second. Please keep me on track with that one, Emily, in case I forget.
Okay.
But you have shingling, you have, like I said, plopping, you have a technique called map, you have squish to condition, you have scrunch out the crunch, you have multiple different techniques. What you will find that most curly girls are very accustomed to is having a mousse and a gel. Those are the two kind of products that have been given to curly girls since the dawn of ages. Neither of which are the holy grail, but that's what they're used to. And so when they come to Monat, what they do find is that they have a hard time adjusting to some of the products because it doesn't work the same way. We all know, those that are within Monat understand that our products are different. But for the curlies, it's even more of a learning curve. And I will say, we can talk about sampling too. But if you are looking to sample a curly girl, it's going to be a challenge. Just put it that way. I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I hope that you can appreciate that. I'm not here to blow sunshine up anybody's butt. Like, it's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help as much as I can. So please understand that a sample for a curly girl is not going to give her a wow factor. It is not. And if she gets a wow factor, it means that she had really crappy hair products to begin with, and she finally found something that sort of worked. But most likely, if she had really crappy products to begin with, she's going to have trouble down the road. If somebody comes to you that's been in the curly world and starting to explore products already, and they have an idea, an inkling, they've been searching, they're searching for their technique, they may have found something that's working, you are going to get a negative reaction when they start Monat. 100% guaranteed. It's not that Monat doesn't work. It is the fact that it is different and it approaches hair differently. As we know, we're not a Band-Aid fix. And that's what curly girls are used to. We're used to Band-Aid fixes. I don't know about you, Emily, but I used to change my product every 3 months. I had to rotate them at the very least. Like, there was nothing that I used consistently. This is the first time in my life that I've used one product line for over 2 years. So it makes a difference, but you have to stay the course. Mm-hmm. I also knew coming in, number one, I wasn't working on my curls. I came in for a different reason. I came in to try Monat for a different reason. And if they're coming in for a different reason and their curls just happen to be the bonus, awesome. But if they're coming in looking for their curls, they have to know up front, listen, it's going to give you your curls back, but it's not going to happen overnight. This is a process. What we're doing is we're working, getting rid of, we've been using years of buildup, years of damage, years of all the things that you've been doing to your hair. It's going to take process. It's going to take a little time to do that. So sampling, I really highly encourage that they go with the 30 days because curly girls tend to wash their hair no more than twice a week, and 2 washes is not going to help them figure out whether something's going to work. Mm-hmm. They really, really, really need to use the products on a regular basis, and they need to know that you've got to give it a full 30 days minimum to even get started. And what they really need to focus on first is how the hair feels versus how it looks. Because the way in which you're healing your hair, it may not look beautiful, but if it feels better, you're on the right track. And we're so used to what it looks like initially, and if anybody wants to see any of these, I have pictures of what my hair looked like, and I didn't realize how bad it was because I wasn't focused on my curls. But it was really bad. It really looked like I had no hair. And if you guys see the picture of me now, you can see these curls are all over the place. So it's a process. Keep that in mind. It's always a process.
Jennifer has a question, and then I also want to get you back to the LOC method. But Jennifer's question, she said, I had someone ask me if their curls can ever come back with Monat shampoo once you have used flat iron for over 2 years.
Okay, so it depends on how damaged the hair is. Yeah. Just like we talk about how damaged the follicles are in your scalp and if you can regrow hair, Yes, it absolutely can reverse the damage. However, once hair has been fried out, so we have a level of moisture and a level of protein in the hair. And once that has been fried out, that hair is so damaged, it tends to break off. That usually happens at our ends more than anywhere else. So if she's willing to chop ends, I'm not doing a big chop. I actually specifically did not do a big chop. So for anybody who doesn't know what a big chop is, anybody who goes natural or anybody who has curly hair that decides that they're going to go, okay, gung ho, and they're going to have their hair back, tends to get a lot of hair lobbed off. Now, for those that are going natural, that usually means, super short. Mm-hmm. For those that have that are more just curly hair in the different wave patterns, like your 2s and your 3s, that tends to be just getting really short. It might be, a short bob, but needless to say, it means getting rid of a lot of hair. Mm-hmm. I refused to do that. I did not want to get rid of my hair. I just wanted to make it better. And so when you start using regular oil treatments, regular mask treatments, and then washing with our products, you will see that turn. But even as some of the other admins in my group we talk about, at one point in time, they actually could feel, like they almost could see a differentiation of where the hair was being pulled out, like where the chemicals were being pulled out of a hair. They could actually almost feel that and see that in their hair, but it was a time. So if the hair is, if it's got a little bit of a body to it, as we start to nourish the hair back, the curls may pop back in. But again, if you focus on just the faster growth, then you may get that dead end off faster and be able to get back to the curls as well. So it might be that you end up with more of the curly on the top and then you end up with straight ends. At that point in time, that part is not going to get healed. It's not going to get the proper nutrition that it needs. It's not getting the oils. It's not getting the conditioner to be able to redefine itself. So at that point in time, it's just that one is a lost cause there. So, but before that, if you're working on really treating your scalp well, which is what I see our product is so great about, and that's really what differentiates Monat from any other curly hair product line out there. We're not treating curls. We're treating the scalp, and the scalp is what makes the curls. Mm-hmm. So that's what I always love to tell people. And that's really what differentiates us from anybody else.
Yeah. And so I totally agree. I usually tell people, not even Monat related, I usually tell them focus on the health of the hair and the growth will come. Because if your hair and your scalp and everything is healthy, then the curls will come. And plus, I also tell them that because it's easier and faster to notice the health rather than the growth, because the growth is like you see your hair every day and you're like, oh, it's not growing. It is. It's just, you see your hair every day, so it doesn't seem like it. But the growth, the health though, you notice faster because you can see that it feels better, it looks healthier. All these things you can actually visually see, which makes it easier for somebody with any hair type, honestly, to be able to compensate for, okay, well, it may not look like it's growing, but at least it's healthy.
The other thing about girls with curls is that even though it's growing, it could, if your hair is actually getting healthier and your curls are coming back, mm-hmm. you're getting the length, but it's going this way at the same time. And that's where my hair was at one point. I was literally growing. When I would go in to get colored, I would have that much growth, but my hair was still the same length because it was shrinking up. So it is kind of hard to notice the growth sometimes. But again, how it feels is way more important than even how it looks sometimes, especially in the beginning. I will say that, again, with most curly girls, you should be expecting at least 90 days. Honestly, that's what you should give yourself. And I tell girls, I'm not anti-straightening my hair. I do straighten my hair every once in a while. But when you are really working with this kind of product line that's trying to heal your hair and you are really trying to look to get your curls back, you can't flip-flop for a while. You have to go 100% into what you're looking for. If you want curls, then let them be. You have to let them reform. And if you keep straightening them out, you keep brushing them, you're disrupting the patterns, you're disrupting the hair from being able to take its natural shape. It's like saying, yeah, I'm going to go on a diet, but I'm going to eat a piece of chocolate every week. Okay, well, that's great. But if you really want to lose faster, then you got to go 100%. If you go 100%, you're going to get better results faster. If you only give me 80%, well, then expect it to be delayed.
And then Haley had a question. She said, what products do you recommend for the curly hair types?
Okay, so typically speaking, most curly girls need hydration. And that is one of the reasons why the line is now called Hydration versus Balance. I personally grew up with Balance, and I will slip into Balance again if I call it that. But hydration is what most curly hair needs, because curly hair, as I said before, has a natural break. Whereas, again, we talked about the follicles and the cuticles really being sealed. Well, when you get curly, it starts breaking. Every single time you have a little twist, it's open right there. So as you're going around, so they automatically are a little drier than typical straight hair. So they need the hydration. Renew is my absolutely first go-to when it comes to those with curls, because that is going to give them that extra dose of oil that they need. As the hair heals, it might begin to feel heavy for some girls, specifically those with really fine curls. They might find that it is too heavy. If that is the case, then yes, it is. But that means that their hair is at a healed point, and now it needs to transition back to a regular line, like the volume. I do not, please hear me loud and clear when I say do not suggest giving a curly girl the Revitalize conditioner or the volume line to begin with. Typically speaking, it is not enough hydration. And what is going to end up happening is, while it might work for the first couple of times, it ends up drying her hair out and makes it fuzzier and more voluminous than we're looking for. Yes, she might want volume, but until we get the hydration in, until we get the proper balance into the hair, balance is my first. Volume, volume is second. It comes later. I will tell you that I was not able to touch the volume line for 2 years. I could not touch it with a 10-foot pole. It did nothing for me. It made my hair very tangly. It made it so I couldn't brush through it. I mean, there was no hydration there for me at all. More recently, I've been playing around with it again. Now, after 2 years, my hair is at a point where it's hydrated enough that I've actually been able to use it, which is amazing, and get pretty decent results. This is the other thing that I also want you guys to really understand with curls. Once they're properly hydrated, they have a proper level of protein in them. Once the curls have formed, you can pretty much run the gamut with what's going to work. I can almost replicate the same exact results with any hair combination. It's just I have to take more care with others, and so if I'm being lazy, I'm going to go for what's easiest. But in terms of the curly girls, the Renew shampoo, obviously the mask, because again, most curlies need a balance of protein and moisture. Some girls will be more sensitive to the protein. There are protein sensitive hair types that it doesn't do well for them, and it makes their hair actually feel sometimes drier if they are a little bit more sensitive. In which case, yes, the deep conditioning, the smoothing deep conditioner can be a really great one. But I would always start with the mask, because even if it's not something they use on a regular basis, it's something that should be a part of their lineup, because that deep conditioning can really help, especially if they use it in conjunction with gentle heat. So I have something that's called a hot head. It's a heated cap. So it looks like a shower cap, but it's a little thicker, and it's got some, this one's filled with flax seeds, but I can throw it in my microwave. It heats up, and then it's like putting a little heated beanie on top of my head. Well, the heat actually, specifically those with low porosity hair, it helps to penetrate. It opens up the cuticles just a little bit, helps them swell a little bit more to actually get that hydration in there, whether it's the oil or the deep conditioning mask itself. For rinse out conditioners, I typically start them with the IR conditioner. Reason being is that it's not as dry as the Revitalize, which is our one of the lightest weight conditioners that we have, and it's not quite as heavy as the smoothing deep conditioner. While we think that the smoothing deep conditioner would make sense, as a rinse out conditioner, it can be very heavy. I personally cannot use it. It is too heavy for my hair, and I have a lot of hair. It actually straightens out my hair when I use the smoothing deep conditioner. It does not happen for everybody. Some people find that to be better, but I find that IR kind of fits the bill right in the middle, and it works the best. And again, conditioners for hair from, ears down. It's not for the scalp. So even though IR can be used on the scalp, again, keep in mind that when you're using conditioners, it really is for ears down. Shampoo, only for the scalp. It should not be being lathered through the hair. It shouldn't, and when I say lathered, I mean we're not putting extra in our hair and running it through the hair because it will dry the hair out. Doesn't matter what shampoo it is. And that's why you hear a lot of curly girls go into what's called a no poo method or a co-washing method, where they're only using conditioner to wash their hair.
Yeah.
I told you guys, there's so many rabbit holes we can jump down here. That's why I'm asking you to ask me what you want to know. There's so many different rabbit holes that we could be jumping down. So co-washing, conditioner washing, no, we do not have a co-wash. A low sulfate or a low poo is going to be your Renew. That's what Renew is. So if girls looking for a low poo, all of our product lines are low poo. All of our shampoos are low poo. But that's going to be the best in equivalence. So when, let's go back to shampooing though. If they're shampooing, lathering at the head, and then whatever suds are created on that second, those should be squished down the hair. It shouldn't be tussling through the hair. It should be just a gentle, because that is all going to be cleansed away. If you're using great products, which we are with Monat, you don't need heavy cleansers on the rest of your hair. Most of that's going to be cleansed away very easily just by the rinse. So unless she's having a really hard time, and then we'll talk about that one another time. Curly girls probably have the worst detox. It's true. And some curly girls don't see it until 3 to 6 months into their journey. So there's a lot of different things that can happen. It also depends on what she's been using in the past. So that's why I tell people it's really important to focus on the scalp health and how the hair is progressing, not so much what it looks like. And what that means is you need to learn what your bad hair day do is. Do you see this right here? This is my go-to bad hair day. This is a sock bun. I go, boop, 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 done. This is my bad hairdo. Now, I'm not saying I have a bad hairdo today, but guys, I had to jump on here. I've been at the hospital all day. My mom had surgery. So I was like, I just need to get on. So let me just, I hadn't got a chance to do my hair. I'm just going to put it up. Quick bun. That is the number one. Number two for me is a braid. I will braid my hair down my side and I'll just rock a braid. Number three is a hat, especially in the winter. And here's a cool little trick, guys. Get a satin-lined hat so it doesn't rough up the cuticles and it keeps your hair. Like you can actually get a hat that has satin on the inside of it and literally just pop your hair underneath it, which is awesome. I love it. And you can hide a lot of things that way too. So you can have that beautiful rockin' braid and still have a hat on and nobody knows that you didn't do your hair for the day. They think it's awesome. So it's important that they have a go-to in terms of, well, my hair was okay this morning. It looks like crap now. Great. Pull it up in a ponytail. It's okay. It's not based on what Monat offers. This is across the board what happens for curly girls when they're transitioning from their old methods using old products that are silicone based, that are heavy waxes, heavy parabens. This is a normal experience for curly girls in general. It's just that most of them are looking for a Band-Aid fix. They're trained to look for the quick fix because that's how we've been taught. So that's why Monat makes a difference. It's the long haul. You want to be in it for the long haul, which is healthy hair overall, not just a Band-Aid fix that's going to make you look beautiful for 2 or 3 days, and then you're going to be on the search again looking for something that's going to work.
I don't know if you had more to that, but I wanted to also get you back onto the LOC method since we're kind of in that.
Yeah. So since we're talking about products, we can go with the lock method or the LOC method. I like the Loco method personally myself, which is basically the same thing. So when we come to styling products, since we're talking about products, we talked about cleansing purposes. One other thing about the cleansing, leave-in conditioners, which is actually kind of going into what the lock method is. The lock method stands for leave-in, oil, cream, and cream stands for any styling product, essentially. So a lot of curly girls like cream-based products. Some curly girls will use the gel or a mousse kind of product. So it kind of depends on what direction that they want to go. But essentially, the C is whatever the styler is. So leave-in conditioners. Leave-in conditioners have their own purpose, and they are amazing because what they do is they seal the cracks essentially in the hair. That's the intent of a leave-in conditioner. I will tell you from personal experience, I hated the leave-in conditioner that we have in the hydration line forever. It wasn't until about a month ago that I was able actually to touch it. So if you have a curly girl who says her hair feels drier or it feels sticky or damp or she doesn't like how it feels, that might be a good indication that the leave-in conditioner isn't working for her, in which case she may need something else. Now, a lot of the curlies in our group have found, and this is also my personal experience, that the junior conditioner, so the rinse out conditioner from the junior line, or even the detangler from the junior line, works really well as a leave-in conditioner for them. Emily, what do you tend to use?
Right now, I usually use the leave-in conditioner, but just recently, I've started using the smoothing deep conditioner, and that seems to do pretty good, but I've only used it like once or twice. So
yeah, so conditioners can be left in the hair. I will tell you from personal experience that I left the mask in my hair for 6 months. I know. This is if you guys really want me to get up on a soapbox, this is the one you want to get me up on, because I used the deep conditioner as a co-washing treatment for 6 months as my sole leave-in conditioner and a cleanser for 6 months. My hair in that point in time got progressively better. What I learned out of that experiment, because again, there were no curlies before me who were leading the way, so I kind of just experimented on myself. What I learned is that my hair really needed more protein, because yes, it does have protein in it, but it's a balance. That's the whole point. You need a balance of protein and moisture, and I was getting the proper balance of moisture. I am not the only one. I know that there are other curlies who have done very well with the mask. I also know other curlies that don't really care for it. So that's why it's important to, if somebody's using it, please, 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 I understand that you guys have been told by corporate that it's a protein treatment and that you shouldn't be using it, or you've been told by other stylists or whatever. Please do not harp on a curly girl who uses the mask on a regular basis. It's devastating, honestly, because it is one of those things that does make a huge difference for some of us. Now I don't tell people to use it quite as frequently as I did before because we have other options. But when I started, we did not have other options. We didn't even have styling products when I started. So I really love the deep conditioning mask. If you ask me for at any point in time, that is my #1 ingredient. My #2 is going to be the oil. So let me get off my soapbox because I told you I wasn't going to stay here. Let's get back to the styling products. So we're talking about leave-in conditioner. So leave-in is the very first one in the lock method. This is going to trap the moisture into the hair. What's really important about this is that it's done on extremely wet hair, because essentially moisture comes from water. It does not come from products. So what you're doing with the lock method is you are locking in the moisture into the hair. So you have that leave-in conditioner that's going to trap the oil. It actually also has humectants in it, which draw additional moisture out of the air into the hair. The beauty of it is once it's balanced properly, it's not opening up, it's not looking for extra moisture, which is where a lot of frizz comes from. So for those, especially in the South, that get that huge, crazy humidity, I here in Michigan also get the same thing during the summer. Right now, I've got about 9 inches of snow outside, so not exactly humid, but I understand what you guys go through because we have it here too. So when you have the hair properly hydrated inside and outside, it's balanced, you're not going to have that frizz factor. So leave-in conditioners are really important. The next step is oil. So Rejuvenate oil obviously is our go-to because that is our one and only proprietary oil, and that is the best thing on the face of the planet. Oil treatments, while we're on it, absolutely 100% needs to be a part of every curly girl's routine. It will speed up any of the issues that are out there. So if there's a scalp issue, oil. If there's a stickiness issue, oil. If there's a curling issue, oil. Just seeing what I'm putting out there? Oil is important here. Overnight oil treatment, pre-poo. Using it before you shampoo. It will actually help to protect the moisture that's in the hair so that you don't overly dry the hair either. Because for somebody who might need to use that volume line for some reason, whether they're trying to draw out impurities faster, by putting that barrier level of the oil on the hair, it can actually help protect but allow it to release what it doesn't need. that makes sense to you guys. Excuse me, I probably should have grabbed something to drink. So oil, basically, you know, depending on the length of the oil, that's going to go from, again, ears down, and you definitely want to focus on the ends of the hair as well to really kind of seal off the good things. Styling products, your cream. So the cream, the C in that particular method, I tend to use the taffy and tussle as my combination. I find that it's a really great combination. I've also just done tussle by itself, but I tend to need some sort of conditioner in there. So I have taken and I've used the IR conditioner and I've left that in my hair. I've used the smoothing conditioner and left that in my hair as well. And I've had different girls use different ones and be able to do great with it. But I find that you have to have that softness. So the conditioner almost softens the application of the what is more of a heavier styler, with whatever's going to hold. And you know, there's a balance for every girl, and it's a personal balance. You can't tell her how much or how little to use. It's really, really hard because it's personally based on how defined she wants everything, and how you know, it's individual. You know, some want bigger hair. So they need to not have such a defined, they need to have a little bit of frizz underneath. Frizz is not enemy. The frizz underneath gives volume that some girls are looking for. But you want to keep that top layer looking nice, and there's some tricks to be able to do that as well. I usually finish off mine with oil. So I call it the loco method versus the lock method, because I add a little bit of oil back to my hair at the end. But some of the other great combinations for styling products are the taffy and the mousse. Some will use the black because they like that. It's a firmer hold. I tend to not pair that one, or that will be paired as well with sometimes taffy and the clay. But when you're using those thicker, tackier ones, it's really important to section the hair out. You don't just mix it all together and apply it to the hair. That's when some parts look defined and other parts don't. Yeah. So I always tell girls, use less product in the beginning and section the hair out. So yeah, it might only be a pea size here for this section, a pea size for this section, a pea size for this section, and another pea for the top, because that's where you're really focused. But it's important that you section the hair to really get the products on there. When you have a good application of styling products, which again should be done on pretty wet hair, I'll put it that way. I find that the Monat product line works much better on more saturated hair. So when a curly girl is using these products, it's almost like once you've rinsed the hair and you've kind of squeegeed it, you're putting leave-on conditioner. then you get out and you might just kind of tap your hair with your t-shirt or your towel, and you're applying your oil, and then you're applying your styler, and then you're plopping your hair if you're a plopper. Some girls diffuse. I love to diffuse my hair as well. And diffusers are really important. The kind and style that you use is important, and you don't have to use the high heats again, so you can turn down the heat on that. Some girls also really, really like the blowout cream in their routine. They'll use that as either the cream portion, or sometimes they'll use that as the leave-in conditioner portion. I've seen that to be actually pretty successful because it's giving the same function, and the great thing about the Monat products is because we have the oil in all of them, you're getting hydration. You're getting some of that the nourishment that you would normally go to a different product for. That's why some of the stylers kind of cross the genders so much, because you've got that dose of oil on all of them. Where were we? Sorry.
You're good.
Any other questions anyone has at the moment? Pop them down below.
I was going to say, usually when doing my hair and some of the friends' hair that I've done so far, it's a really good tip to keep a spray water bottle next to you, so that you can keep spraying and adding the water back in as you go. I use the clay and then the mousse just to give a firmer hold. But if you use too much of the clay, your hair will get sticky. So just putting that out there.
Because it has a little bit of a humectant in it, so it draws from the air, it draws some moisture out of the air, and it does create that. Actually, that same can happen with the mousse as well. And when most of the girls say that they don't like the mousse, it's because they're using it by itself. I find that if they use it in conjunction with either a little bit of the conditioner, or they're using it in conjunction with another one, like the clay or the taffy, then they get, or even the blowout cream, they're getting more of a softer hold and than that crunch that they're looking for, or the crunch that they're not looking for, I should say. It doesn't make the hair as dry, but without it, it does kind of sometimes feel a little bit drier, is what I found in experience so far. There is no holy grail product for curly girls. Sorry. There is no magic formula for every curly girl out there. It does take some time. But this is what I always tell people. You start with healing the hair. So you focus on playing cleanup first. That means your shampoo and conditioners and your oil. So those are, typically speaking, my first two orders, and that's what I highly suggest that you do. I know that everybody wants a styling product right out the gate, but considering I did not start with styling products right out the gate, I almost feel as though sometimes it can hinder the process, because you're so focused on the end result that you can't focus on the process of healing the hair. When you hold off for 30 days, and I know, again, it kind of sucks, but if you can hold off for 30 days on the styling product, when you introduce the styling product, you're introducing it to clean hair. You're not introducing it into product or into hair that's already laden with another product. So our products don't play well with a lot of other hair care out there. So when you start layering our styling product on top of what used to be the styling product that they were using, it can cause additional results that wouldn't have been there had they just held off a little bit longer and gotten through the cleanup process. My opinion, my experience, I'm sharing with you guys. Take it, leave it. I love you all. You guys can do what you want with that one. But that's what I've noticed, in all of my time and working with all the girls I have.
I haven't seen any more questions come through. I think we hit on...
I know. You guys, this is for you. You have to ask questions. I see thumbs up. I love you guys. Thank you. I appreciate the thumbs up. But I need to know, what do you need to know? What do you want to hear? Because there's, like I said, there's so much stuff we can possibly cover. I mean, I could have you guys here for a 4-hour seminar, and I wasn't prepared for that, but I could totally do it. I'm really good at talking.
I think if there's no more questions, let's go ahead and at least mention how to sleep on curls, because that's a lot.
Absolutely. So multiple days of curls. Oh, and this is what I was getting after when I was also getting into styling products. When you have a good application of styling products, you have a solid amount of styling products, you can get multiple days out of the hair and multiple days out of your curls. Those with 2 waves are less likely to get multiple days because curls drop. They're going to get looser from day to day. So for someone like Emily who's got really tight curls, actually, I'm going to guess, Emily, you probably don't like your day 1 curls. You probably like day 2 or day 3, right?
Yes, I hate my day 1 curls.
Yeah. So believe it or not, it's true. Most people are like, oh my God, I'd kill for that. But most girls who have really tight curls, the very first day, their hair is very tight.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the process because you deal with it. They're like, oh, I deal with it because on day 2 and day 3, I love my hair because it's fallen out a little bit. The curls have gotten a little bit looser. They're bigger. They're more beautiful. They're healthy. They look what we want all the time, right? So for somebody like me, I can get multiple days out of my curls as well. But for me, for everybody else, it's super important how you sleep on them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of curlies, I was never taught this growing up, so I can say that this is probably true for most of the curly girls you deal with. We aren't taught how to take care of our hair, number one. We're told to control our hair, not to learn how to, actually properly hydrate it. And we definitely aren't taught how to sleep on it. And that's what leads to a lot of girls, well, that's why I straighten my hair, because I can get multiple days without having to wash it again. Otherwise, I have to wash it every single morning, and that's really annoying. Well, yeah, that's true. But if you actually are set up properly, in the morning, I will tell you my hair care routine is 2 minutes. And it's however long it takes me to take it down, and that's it. Most of the time I can walk out the door in about 2 minutes with my hair already done. And the reason is that it's important to get the hair up and off the pillow. Mm-hmm. So there are several different methods of doing this. There is the biggest one that most people have, and with Emily's length, she's able to do this. It's called the pineapple. So the pineapple is you're pulling the hair up basically into almost like a unicorn horn. You're pulling it up to the front, and you are usually they tie it so that you have like a scarf in this area. So it actually helps to protect the hair, and you're not, rubbing it up against your pillowcase and the hair. All the curls are basically in this section, and the only part that's actually being crushed is back here. Well, once I drop my hair back down, guess what? Who cares what that looks like back there, because it's all covered by my curls. So the unicorn or the pineapple is probably the most popular. The pineapple, if you think about it, it literally is your head looks like a pineapple. You're putting everything up here, so all this stuff is here. So some girls will do that with a scarf. Other girls, a satin pillowcase. So honestly, guys, our little Monat gift set that we had with the satin pillowcase in it was probably the best curly girl gift you could ever give a girl, because she got a satin pillowcase and she got the wide tooth comb, and like those are two things that every curly girl should have in her routine. Satin pillowcases is how I do it. I pull my hair up on top of my head now, but I pull my hair up and I sleep on a satin pillowcase. This is actually funny because, again, this is the section that's rubbing against it, sometimes in here, but I'm not roughing up these cuticles. I'm not roughing them up. I'm not creating extra friction with when I have that satin pillowcase. So when I do mine, I actually used to do what's called a samurai bun, essentially pulling the hair up again on the top of my head, and I double loop mine. So the first loop holds it in a ponytail, and then I kind of half pull it through again, and it kind of looks like a half moon shape. Now my hair is so long, I have to do that and then kind of pin it in place in order for it to stay there, because otherwise it just kind of flops all over the place. Girls with looser curl patterns, so your twos, the best way for them to do it is actually to braid their hair at night. Or again, they can kind of pull it up in a little bit of a pineapple, but the braid gives them so they continue to have that little wave. Some girls, even with tighter curls, will braid it at night, or kind of put it up in a really loose bun, so just kind of throwing it up and kind of clipping it so that it's very gently sitting on the top of the head, but you're not crushing the curls. Ideally, you want to get the hair up and off your head. You want to get it on the top of your head so that when you're laying on your pillow, you aren't crushing the curls. The next day, you literally can take it down, and there it is. Most of your curls will be there. There is an ability to refresh if you need to. That's where a spray bottle, like Emily mentioned, is really ideal. Having a spray bottle, using a little bit of product if you need it. You can finger coil, or actually even use, a low heat iron if somebody, or curling iron if for those looser waves that need a little bit extra. But I find that those with the twos have the hardest time with multiple days, because their hair is going to fall out. Their wave is going to fall out faster. Those with threes and fours tend to be a little bit easier to get multiple days out of. Multiple day hair is not the holy grail. It is not. But it does make life easier. So then it's just learning process for you. And also understanding your hair on day one is not going to look the same as day 2, day 3, day 4. Yeah? Any more questions, guys?
I think that may be it. I know we've had a lot of people log off probably because it's just gotten so late. But I think we pretty much covered up pretty much all the curly stuff. Most of it.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there. And I'm happy, again, like I said, as people, watch this, as, because it's going to be here in the group, feel free to drop additional questions in here. Obviously, I'll get tagged every single time those come in. I'm happy to jump back in and just kind of, answer as I can. Starting to manage my 3-year-old's hair. Yes! That's awesome. And I will tell you that braids are your best friend. With a 3-year-old, braids are going to be your best friend. And the other thing that's really important, especially with curly girls and those with curly hair, especially when they're that young, please, 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 please do not pull. Don't pull these hairs back. Do not, we have bumps. We have curls. We don't want the straight. It should have a gentle, and like if you guys could see mine, even though I have it pulled back, you can see I have like these little, bumps. I'm not pulling this back so it sticks straight. When you're doing that, especially when you have young girls like that, you're pulling it back that tight, you can cause something called tension alopecia. And this is something that's very, very common with those that have extremely tight curls because they're looking to get that really smooth,
yeah.
Don't fight the hair. You have to learn to embrace the hair that is there. Pull it back loosely and do what you can from there. But do not try to straighten it when you're trying to make it look presentable. Presentable is to be curly girl. Presentable is not to try to be something that you aren't, and you are not straight. You are a curly girl. Yeah. She loves it down. She hates it pulled up. It's a struggle every morning. I totally understand. I will tell you, in third grade, I chopped off all my hair.
Oh my God.
So be prepared. Yeah, I had a boycott in third grade. Yeah. So it'll be a struggle, but the more that you use the Monat line, the easier it will get. The detangler will be your best friend for her. I highly suggest actually cutting the detangler with a little more water because I find that it can be a little bit too much, especially with hair that's really healthy already.
Yeah.
So I would actually suggest, taking half of it and putting it into a regular spray bottle because it also is helpful. The little pump is really hard when you're trying to get, a lot of misting in there. It's what I call the milkshake. So taking some of that, putting a little water in with it, and then also a couple drops of oil. Before we had the detangler, I used to do that with the mask. Same concept, just with the mask. But cut it with a little water so that you're getting the hydration, but you're still getting the moisturizer. You're still getting the conditioner to help you detangle that. That'll help a lot. And then, yeah, braiding is going to be great. If she loves wearing it down, you have to keep telling her, girl, you got to learn how to deal with it then. You got to learn how, tell her you're here for her, you're going to help her, but she's got to learn to, really embrace those hairs. Well, you are so absolutely welcome. I'm glad. Here's what I guess I'll leave you guys. We've kind of wrapped it up. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to read this, but it says the yet to come. That is the curly girl motto. The best is yet to come. Just realize that it is a journey. It is not an overnight fix. We don't have Band-Aids that are going to make everything perfect overnight. We have magic shampoo, but our magic shampoo for curly girls definitely takes time. It is magic on a long-term scale because at the end, it's amazing what curly girls' hair can look like when you get to the other side. Some girls are going to have immediate responses, and that's awesome, but they actually need to approach their hair in a different way. And when they do that, they will have amazing hair. They will have healthy hair, and they will have beautiful bouncy curls. So I hope that was helpful for you guys a little bit. Please, again, if you jump in here at any point in time, ask away at more questions. I am more than happy to answer. I also, if you have a question, I might use it as an upcoming video and share some more information with everybody as you guys all need it. And again, thank you for spending some time with me tonight. I do apologize for getting on here late, but I do appreciate you guys all for being here. And I will hopefully hear from you guys soon and be able to help you guys out some more. All right, bye, lady loves.